Hey guys, Moses with Negron Tech here, and today I'm bringing you my starter for 3.24 Necropolis League, the Berserker Earthshatter, the absolute hated archetype of GGG. Yep, that's right, GGG hates melee, and I hate myself, so why not suffer yet again and play a true melee build in Path of Exile, a slam build, not that abomination of a skill called Bone Shatter, not that abomination of a default attack that's masquerading as a skill. It is embarrassing. Alright, it's been 23 patches now since Warcries were introduced. For the uninitiated, that is almost 4 years now that us melee chats have been neglected and abused by our GGG overlords with the absolutely minuscule amount of positive changes to slam builds. Why oh why GGG? Even with patch 3.24 coming and the new call to arms gen automating our war cries, giving us some absolutely needed quality of life and some needed melee buffs, they said no. They laughed at us and told us to go F ourselves yet again by not allowing us to trigger more than one war cry at a time. What the F GGG? Why do they hate us? Why do they hate melee? Now casters get to reap the benefits. Wow, just imagine Dead Ain't Dead with free endurance charges. If you remember the old days of casters having fortify, you already know where this is going. Warcry nerfs next patch incoming. Alright, so seriously, enough doom and gloom. Kind of joking, but kind of not joking. Let's get into the build. You're watching an Earthshatter Berserker. Earthshatter is a slam skill that is really damn satisfying to use, both when it comes to the visuals and damage. When I say damage, I say comparatively speaking to other slam skills. But why, Moses? Why suffer and play this type of build? Well, I just can't help it. I love melee, I love the archetype, and I love slams. Now you're gonna ask again, but look at all those buttons. I don't want to press any buttons. Like, this is ridiculous. It's not a one button build. This sucks. This is miserable. How can you use more than one button in a build? Well, I don't know. This is an action RPG. I don't know what happened over the years with people just defaulting to one button builds. Like, if it's not a one button build, I guess it just sucks. If it's not farming 100 div an hour, I guess it just sucks, right? I don't know, but I don't give a shit. So if you don't like it, stop watching the video. It's slams, it's war cries. You're gonna have to press more than one button, guys. Get over it. So who is this build for? This build isn't directly focused at beginners, but it is a more, let me just say, casual friendly guide, right? It's not going to get super in-depth with a lot of things. I'll talk about the skill mechanics and how to properly combo your war cries and stuff like that, but generally this is going to be targeted at more casual players, you know, the person like me that works a full-time job, doesn't have a lot of time to play during the league, and with all due respect to a lot of people, does not give a flying fuck about any meta or whatever the fuck that is going on at the time with the league. It's for the person that, you know what, I really like slams, or maybe I never tried slams or melee before. This looked kind of visually pleasing, looks kind of cool, and I kind of want to play it, you know, why not? So that's who it is. I really am just like a normal fucking dude, just having fun with POE as much as I can with melee and making a slam build as viable as possible. So how does Earthshatter work, right? It is a physical attack and it is a slam. So anything that exerts our attacks, i.e. our war cries, are going to increase the damage. It's going to double the damage from Intimidating Cry. We're going to do more damage every time we war cry due to Ben's helmet. Thanks, Ben. Echoes of Creation from Shaper. Very easy to farm helmet. You will get this eventually in the end game. I am SSF exclusive. So there you go. Don't worry about the helmet, right? So you attack with Earthshatter and you have an initial hit where you actually land, and then your spikes, your fissures, are going to extend from that point of area, right? So what you want to do is make sure, I know a big mistake that I see in a lot of Earthshatter videos is that people, let's say the boss is right there where the totem is, they'll just attack from here and then they'll rely on just doing damage with the spikes. You have to double dip with this skill while doing damage to properly maximize the mechanics of this skill, right? So you do still want to be in melee. You want to be on the boss. Sometimes you can't do that. That's fine. But you want to be on top of the boss. You want to hit with the initial hit. And then what's going to happen is that the AoE from the spikes will trigger. And then normally you're going to get 2 spikes on a boss. That's what's going to happen most of the time. And you might be thinking, oh, Moses, why don't I just invest in massive AoE and hit with 6 spikes? Does not work that way. So we'll do it right now. We have blood and sand. We're in blood stance. We're in sand stance, more AoE. This is what the AoE looks like in stand base with absolute zero AoE investment. You hit with the initial hit, you get the 2 spikes that overlap in this one area. That's going to be the average. Now, if we, let's just reduce our AoE, right? Now, very, very small with the reduced AoE and blood stance. As you increase the AoE, I'm going to go to sand and seismic for more AoE. The spikes go out longer and longer. So it's not just like they're going to be in the same little area right here, the same axis, and you're going to get 6 spikes. It does not work that way. Talking about the spikes, quality of the quality on Earthshatter is very, very good. You get more max and you get another fissure. It really does not affect your single target DPS when it comes to ball seed. It just is very, very good when it comes to actual mapping. I don't think the transfigure gems are worth it at all, but you know, if somebody can make a great build, then that's fantastic. But that's mechanically how the skill works. The last thing to talk about is that, as you might have noticed, sometimes the spikes don't go past certain obstacles, right? So, when you're like Act 10 Katava, well, that's not a good example, but when you are in small rooms or smaller areas, or you have big bosses like Act 10 Katava, like, you're gonna have massive overlap, and then those situations you will get multiple spikes, like 3 to 4 spikes possibly, but more than likely you're just getting your 2 spikes for bosses. So when we do our DPS calculation through POE, that's what works. Alright guys, so talking about the Warcries, I want to make this not too long, but it is important to talk about because there's a lot of misinformation where people don't want to play Earthshatter because like, oh, I don't want to Earthshatter and then cast and then explode every other time, and it's a lot. It's really, really not, guys. You have 3 primary buttons to press really for bosses. For mapping, you don't have to do anything. Mapping, you can just literally just Warcry every like couple seconds, explode like 2 Earthshatters, Warcry, like that's really all you got to do, guys. Super simple. But for bossing, for optimal damage, a couple things are going to go on. The way I set it up for the build is going to be a simple synchronized combo. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, going to represent our 3 Warcries. Battle Mage's Cry gives us Vuln. Seismic Cry just gives us more multiplier from Ben's helmet, and then also exerts 5 attacks. Battle Mages is 6, and then finally Intimidating Cry, our big damage, exerts 3 attacks. So if you see where I'm going here, you're just gonna go 1, 2, 3. You cast Earthshatter 3 times. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then you press 3 again, which represents Intimidating Cry, and it explodes to 15 to 18 spikes, depending on your quality. And then you're going to Earthshatter 3 more times, and then you start the combo all over again. So 1, 2, 3 represents your Warcries. 1 represents your Earthshatter. You're going to attack with Earthshatter 3 times. You're going to Intimidating Cry after that to explode those 3 spikes that are all going to benefit from a 50% more multiplier from Rage Sacrifice, and it'll benefit from the multiplier of all doing double damage. And then you cast another Intimidating Cry after your 3 attacks, and then you Earthshatter 3 more times, and that's it. That's like your boss combo. Really simple to play. I set up my hotbar 1, 2, 3 right in order. So I go ERT, so ERT, right click 3 times, T, right click 3 times, ERT. And that's like how the combo works, guys. That way you always never go over your max spikes, and you never really lose damage, right? That's it. It's super simple, and it's pretty enjoyable how that works, right? Like, not a lot to think about. You're gonna do a big damage multiplier. Now, I talked about the Berserker Ascendancy. Very important is that exerted attacks, multiple attacks, it does not just trigger for 1 attack, and it's recently over 4 seconds. You're going to constantly sacrifice rage as we generate rage on Warcry. Now, with Cluster Jewel, Cry Wolf, I think it is, and then just generating the minimum amount of power with Warcry Mastery, we generate 20 Warcry. We need to get to 25. So the way I set up the combo is kind of like foolproof, is that you just go 1, 2, we're at 40 rage, right? We have the Ben multiplier from the helmet. Thanks, Ben, again. We have 5 attacks here. You have the Intimidating Cry that I just used. Well, now it's... But pretty much what's going to happen is I'll just fast forward this, get back to 0. All right, sorry about that. Back to 0. So you go 1, 2. You're at 40 rage. You Intimidating Cry. You just sacrifice rage. Now you have the 50% more multiplier because you have sacrificed rage recently. and you're gonna do double damage. So 1, 2, 3, you explode, and then 1, 2, 3. Like, this all happens fast enough in real time to where your sequence of 6 total Earthshatter attacks are all gonna benefit from that more multiplier for sacrificing rage. So super simple, like the TLDR, like I really, really hope you guys watch this section at least, but the TLDR, 1, 2, 3, 3, Warcry again, the Intimidate Cry, 1, 2, 3, reset combo. Super easy. Alright guys, so we're in the POB. Thankfully, when it comes to Path of Exile, you can pretty much just show your POB and all your secrets are revealed. Actually, let me go back here. I had some custom modifiers for that one too. So we'll start off with the skill tree. A lot of the skill trees are very, very, very similar. The only things to know is that I do spec for some life leech here. We get the mana mastery through here instead of pathing this way because it's too many points to path that way. And I don't path for totems because I hate totems. But I do opt to go all these Warcry masteries. Ignore this Warcry wheel. It sucks. And it's pretty, from there on, you know, you get the more max res. It's very stereotypical when it comes to other slamming trees, right? They're all very, very, very similar. If you want to go a different route, maybe no fortify here and use a fortified gem, you can do that. But that's pretty much it. Nothing to really note here. We do opt for one cluster jewel later on in the game. You do want Cry Wolf is mandatory in combination with the minimum gen. Then you get your 20 rage per Warcry. Very, very good. And you can go either Mob Mentality. I put in the notes. Mob Mentality, Warning Crawl, or Lead by Example. Lead by Example is very, very good for the Onslaught, but you can get Onslaught on chest. I normally never have too much of an issue getting a decent Onslaught chest while playing. You know, I get it every solo self. Maybe I'm super lucky, maybe I'm not. For the Ascendancy, nothing too crazy here. We just get more rage benefit, movement, attack speed. It really helps with the slam playstyle to speed up our mapping and the quality of life. Warbringer is absolutely insane. You're always going to have 100% uptime on exerted attacks. Every time we attack, it will be exerted. And we were always going to sacrifice rage recently because we're generating every 2 war cries. As I showed you in the example, 40 rage. 3rd war cry, you sacrifice. That's that. And Aspect of Carnage, very, very, very good. If you want to be super tanky, go Defy Pain, I don't know, but the 40% more damage is too good. Some masteries that are to note too with Axe is that this is just so goddamn good. Killing, destroying enemies with your hits is huge. More damage in blood and sand. Maybe increased onslaught effect if you want to zoom a little bit more. War cries cannot exert travel. You can get this on your gear, but I opt not to. Minimum power on war cries, and then the last mastery, you can go debilitate, or you can also go recover 50% life, which is very, very good, as you're going to constantly take a lot of damage with Ben's helmet. Everything else is pretty damn simple, guys. So that's the skill tree. Again, any questions, put in the comments. We anoint forceful skewering because we are in Pale 2. So skills, try to do this quick. Earthshatter, pretty much these are kind of required. If you have trouble getting 2 green, shouldn't be too much an issue. You could just get rid of close combat too, and then go any combination of these 4. One thing to note is that I think Ruthless and Pulverize do not have that much synergy with Earthshatter. We already have a less 80% attack speed base, another 10% less attack speed. Pulverize without like a big axe, and again in this axe I just have a multi-modded example with 30% attack speed. It feels very, very, very bad not having a good amount of attack speed when it comes to your Earthshatter, right? So that's why I don't opt for Pulverize a lot. Fist of War is one of my favorites. Not only is it visually pleasing, but it also does very, very good damage. And the combined DPS here, try not to get too locked into the POB mind trap, because what's going to happen is that Ruthless scales better and more attack speed, right? Like the more you trigger that 3rd attack, that Ruthless bow, the more overall damage, the more you get from that Ruthless skill gem. Fist of War is much better for us because we're moving around while attacking, we're repositioning, and you're going to have small, you know, milliseconds of downtime here and there, like you leaf slam around or you frost blink around the map during bosses at least, and you're going to get more value every 1.8 seconds than you normally would. Plus, it actually helps a lot with the map clear too, but this last gem slot, and really these last 2, are personal preference, but I do recommend Fist of War or Fortify if you want to be more tanky or you want to free up 5 passageway points. Our helmet, we go second wind with our 3 war cries. Very, very, very good. Second wind adds a negligible amount of skill cooldown 3.65 for one charge. It is absolutely massive. Definitely worth it. Not even a not even a 0.1 second increase. So it's getting the extra charge now at 3 charges. That's where we get the 100% uptime on Intimidating Cry. Mobility, War Banner, another aura, and the gloves. Nothing crazy. This is new. We go cast when damage taken, Blood Rage, and Molten Shell, but we also add Berserk to this setup. We can no longer Berserk on left click, so that is why we go for this. And again, I have it checked off. In this POB, I have it checked off, so I'm not doing any crazy configuration shenanigans. And in the weapon, you have a 2 link and some other links with, you know, Warcry, with the Ancestral Warcry and Maim. Blood and Sand 2, Pride. So we go 4 auras. We don't use Herald of Purity. And then we are able to use 4 auras with this Mana Mastery right here. So real quick, talking about overall DPS and the configuration, I have it set at Guardian Pinnacle, Pride initial effect. I am in Blood Stance, no frenzy charges, but you can get frenzy charges very, very easily with the Cluster Jewel. We're fortified, only 20 rage. The reason why I have 20 rage here is because a lot of the times you're just constantly sacrificing rage, so you're going to go up and down, up and down. I feel like 20 rage is a nice conservative, realistic breakpoint to show your DPS compared to doing like 40 rage or something like that. War Cries recently, you're always going to use 3 War Cries. You're more likely going to use 4 War Cries recently, almost at all times, but you know, that's it. For Combat Rush, we are close to the enemy. The enemy is mainframe Ancestral Warcry, and they are intimidated from Intimidating Cry. And the custom modifiers, I did not sneak anything in here. I do not add the helmet modifier. If you want to add the helmet modifier, you can just do this. Again, more likely it'll be like in the mid, maybe like 38, but let's just say it's the low end roll. You do that, and then 30% more damage there. Very, 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 very good. At the high end, if you want to abuse the POB, what you can see is like, let's say Pride to maximum effect, Guardian Pinnacle, frenzy charges from Mob Mentality. Have we killed recently? Nope, 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 nope. There is one more thing here. Blood, Pride max, 30% more, enemies maimed, intimidated, yes, 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 yes. And then you can enable Berserk. And you can see like in your big DPS windows on Guardian Pinnacle, and then if it's an Uber, I don't recommend doing Uber, but on the big DPS Pinnacles for Uber with Berserk, you're doing just under 2 mil DPS, which I don't recommend doing Ubers like that, but for just getting your voice tones, everything else enabled, it's very, very, very good. You're doing, what, 2.4, almost 5 mil DPS with really, really, really shitty gear and 1 unique. That's it, guys. So that won't be saved for the actual configuration, but I'll just leave it there. So I talked about the skills, talked about the skill tree, the passive skill tree, talked about the cluster jewels. Now let's talk about gear. Everything here is very, very simple. The only thing that'll be a little bit difficult to get eventually is going to be the cluster jewel. But, you know, in a solo self-found scenario, I never had trouble getting the exerted attack ones. You know, just target farm some delirium when you can. And then everything else, nothing broken, super simple. This is the rough gear set for endgame, but super simple. We do go triple non-channeling the mana. If you don't have Elrond yet, I highly recommend opting for the life mastery, getting skill cost life instead of 30% mana. Helps a lot with cost, especially with War Cries, until you get that Elrond craft. And that's pretty much the only, like, it's really the Elrond craft and then Shaper's Helm that you really, like, have to aim for to get the build feeling good. I put in the notes that you could just drop an aura. You really don't need Pride early in the game because you're not going to really get the benefit while early mapping, because white maps and even yellow maps early to me are kind of a joke. So when you do get the red maps, like, hopefully go Pride, and then, you know, at least go the life mastery, and then hopefully by then, by the time you should be getting red maps, especially with the new Atlas, getting 100% June chance on a lot of the trees that people have set up. So talking about the axe, I have a really, really crappy axe, but the reason why I want to show this is because, like, it's super, super, super easy to get, like, a 600 plus DPS axe. This is the low end. Guys, that Val axe, that, the Fizz accuracy mod is actually, like, T6 in that setup, which is, I just want, because I want to make it super, super relatable, you know, casual setup, realistic, where I think it is T6, 30%. Yeah, so it's like the mid end of T6, which I think is very, very fair, because you're going to essence craft your weapon. You're going to use Deafening of Contempt. Go right here. And you're just going to contempt. What you really, really want is to have at least 1 open prefix and 1 open or 2 open suffixes, right? So Ideally, you might get lucky with the good attack speed mod while you're essence crafting, but you know, you might have to annul and, you know, change around a couple other things here. But you really, really want to essence craft this. Get any type of fizz accuracy is going to be great. For me and solo self-found, what I do as soon as I get, even when I get T7 or T6, I stop there and I start crafting if I have the open prefix. If you have the open prefix, you're going to hope to get, you'll get the Exalted Orb and you'll go for Fizz, and you get that big Fizz roll. And like just that with no attack speed, you're almost at 600 DPS, which is very, very, very good. If you don't even have that modifier and just craft that, let's say you can't get a Fizz accuracy, and let's say you get lucky with an attack speed. Like, let's say you get a T3 or T4 attack speed. You're still kind of close to there, but generally, hopefully, like in the ideal world, you'll get that Fizz accuracy hybrid. You'll multi-mod Fizz and attack speed if you have the 2 open suffixes with open prefix. Really not too hard. It's not really that unrealistic, I swear. Like, even early in the game, like, let's say you get super unlucky and I just get like this one, you just get a rare axe where you only get 2 usable mods. Like, you could still do in this scenario, like, you lose a lot of damage, but you still see, like, you're getting so much damage from Warcries, so much damage from the multipliers from the Berserker tree, and it's pretty damn solid. And that's pretty much it, guys. You know, I don't think I explicitly talked about defenses, but, you know, no crazy effective hit pool. SSF casual, so no 4th Val shenanigans that are going to make you unkillable. You get a good amount of health, good amount of life leech, good amount of recovery, endurance charges from enduring cry, less damage taken from a couple other sources. You can, you know, life recovery from here or debilitate for less damage taken. A lot of good stuff, guys, and that's pretty much it. Hopefully I covered everything. I also added a couple things here for the actual leveling tree if you do want to go with this as a starter. And that's pretty much it. Now, before I end the video, I will talk about Slayer. So I added some stuff for a Slayer tree here that goes precise techniques with the Slayer skill tree. I mean, Slayer skill gems and a Slayer gear set. Slayer is, just ignore. You can copy, I don't know what his name is. It's just Google POE Ben, and I think it's Darky will come up. Just copy him, right? But don't recommend Slayer unless you really, really know what you're doing, because Slayer just requires so much gear with precise techniques that it's a super pain in the ass. You need at least 3 items to get the main hand accuracy bonus up with precision using arrogance, and you can go that way. That at the top end, it will be more tanky. It will be better overall, but I don't recommend it unless you know what you're doing. The Slayer tree and the gear is not min-max, but if you do want to see like an example, like how it might turn out, you can, but I highly, highly don't recommend it if you actually are serious about playing Earthshatter. Again, if you do want to play Slayer, just look up Ben Slayer and use that as a template. That's pretty much it. Moser with Necron Tech here. I know it's a pretty long video, but hey, it's a starter build guide, and hopefully you enjoy it. These type of videos do not get a lot of views. I really don't mind. I'll never do this as a full-time job. And of course, nobody cares about Melee. But if you are one of them, maybe like, hopefully I get like 500 views on this to watch it. I hope you enjoyed. Most of Necron Tech here. I will post updates on this throughout the league, and I hope you guys have a good one.